Hey, welcome back to Unbridled. Imagine little Timmy. He is super excited and motivated to go to the gym for the very first time. He's like super hyped and he finishes his first ever workout in a super motivated way. He like smashes the workout and he is a little bit sore afterwards, which is to be expected, right? And then he goes home and checks his gains. What do you think he saw? Nothing, right? Okay, it's just the first day. He thinks to himself, if I just keep going to the gym, I'll be jacked in no time. Good going, little Timmy. And so he puts in 100% of his efforts for the next week. And then he comes home and checks his gains. What do you think he saw? Nothing, right? And that gets him a little bit depressed. And so he misses a day of gym. And then 2, and then 3, and then just doesn't want to go because he has ruined his perfect streak of 6 days of gym a week. Meanwhile, there's Chad. He doesn't get upset about minor setbacks. He always comes back to the task at hand with renewed vigor. He is persistence. Now, in your head, you may convince yourself that you're Chad, but your actions scream little Timmy at the top of their lungs. But let me help you out. You have been brainwashed by, let's say, your family, your friends, or maybe your societal circumstances, or maybe from social media into thinking that streaks are really good and they signify how good you are at a particular skill. But you see, there's a problem with that idea. Streaks are a countdown. You're basically counting down the amount of days that you can go without not doing that particular thing, which is why nofap streaks kind of mess with your mental, because what you're doing is you're eventually counting down like the day that you'll eventually fap. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why streaks in nofap is like kind of frowned upon, but it's also kind of like a test. It's almost like you're testing yourself, how many days you can go before you eventually have to give up this particular thing that you're working on. I mean, sure, you wouldn't feel the core essence of a streak if, like, let's take the example of nofap. Let's say the longest that you've ever lasted without fapping and watching porn is like 1 or 2 days. You're not really gonna see the essence of a streak and the effect that it can have on someone. So let's say you break a 2-day nofap streak. Big deal, right? Like, it's not gonna affect your mental. But have you ever seen like a dude on like a 40-day streak or like a 50-day streak relapse? The guy binges on porn, right? Like, he perceives himself as a fucking loser. But think about it this way. Let's say he started his nofap journey from like the 1st of January and he had spent previous years, so let's say he spent 2023 watching porn every single day. So he watched porn for 365 days straight, right? And then from January to like the mid of February, so let's say 40 days, he didn't even watch porn. And then he watched porn on like the 41st day. Do you think that he's a loser? Because I don't. He changed his habits so drastically that he went from watching porn every single day to not watching porn at all for 40 days. That is significant. If he could only see it like that, he would have made so much more progress. But because he was obsessed with this streak, because he was obsessed with this idea of making a mark on a wall or like I don't know, writing down a number, he kind of deviated from the core idea, which was to change his habits, and it just became one more thing that he had to do, one more thing that he had to complete in order to just check a box, basically. So that's the wrong concept, the bit that is wrong with streaks, and that's like one of the disadvantages of being obsessed with streaks. It's because we tend to value bigger numbers as like inherently better, right? So think about more money, more cars, more girls, longer streaks. You get the idea. So let's say you're obsessed with streaks right now, or maybe you had a really good streak. So let's say you're interested in coding and you were teaching yourself how to code. and you said to yourself that I'm gonna code for every single day for like the next 3 months, and then like you couldn't code for a week, and that got you depressed, or maybe that got you kind of thinking about your decisions and how you can't stick with your words, and so you kind of just give up with that habit because you just couldn't maintain that streak. So maybe you're in one of those pitfalls. So yeah, here's the idea on how you can like get yourself out of it, and also change your mentality concerning how you consider streaks. So here's like a good alternative to streaks. So instead of counting how many days that you can do a particular thing like in a row, instead consider the time frame of a month, and like just check off a box for like every day that you did the thingy. So don't concern yourself with like streaks, just count the total amount of progress that you made over a month. Now, it kind of sounds similar to streaks, but think about it this way. Let's say week 1, week 2, week 3, and if you were like doing a streak, or like were concerned with streaks, you would think that, okay, week 1, I'm gonna do like day 1, day 2, day 3, all the way to day 7, and then that streak is gonna carry over to week 2, which is gonna have like day 8 to day 14, and yeah, that's the idea of streaks. But the idea of total amount of progress made in a month, it's kind of different. So in the first week, you can like kind of, I don't know, due to some reasons, you might not be able to go to the gym like let's say a day or 2. So in the first week, instead of hitting the gym 6 times a week, maybe you were only able to hit the gyms 4 times a week. So okay, that's like 4 out of 6 in the first week. And then in the second week, let's say you were able to go 5 times a week, so that's 5 out of 6. And you do that over the course of the whole month. Now, if you were counting the streaks, week 1 would have a streak count of 4, and then week 2 would have 5. But if you like consider this model, you would have the total amount of progress made, right? So let's say you missed 2 days in week 1, 1 day in week 2, 1 day in week 3, and 1 day in week 4. So let's consider like your perfect condition, right? Like your ideal routine. So you want to go to the gym 6 times a week, and that's like 4 weeks. So 24 is the total number of days that you can actually go to the gym. But due to several reasons, you ended up missing 5 of those days. So you only went, well, not only, but you were able to go like 19 days out of the 24 total days. So look at it this way, you made tremendous progress, right? Like you hit a score of 19 out of 24. That is significant. Now, if you were looking at the streaks, you would be disappointed because you would only see like 5 or 4, you know? But if you look at the total amount of progress made, then you'd be able to see how you were able to go 19 days out of 24 days, and that is amazing progress. And you can be proud of that. So try to make this a habit. Like instead of thinking about streaks, first consider the total amount of days that you can do a particular habit. So let's say the gym is open 6 days a week, so that is 4 weeks, and 6 times 4 is 24. So I can only go to the gym 24 days in a month. Now you need to also account for things that you might have to like kind of do at that hour. So you can like include, I don't know, emergencies or like family reunions, whatever, like you can account for that. So let's say I count like 4 days into these 24 days. So let's say I count like 4 days of, I don't know, a wedding or like a family reunion, something like that. So out of those 24 days that I can like go in an ideal situation, I am most likely going to be able to go to the gym 20 days a month. Now, if I hit a score of 19 out of 20, that is fucking amazing. Like, look at it. Like, 19 out of 20 is an amazing score. And I'm not saying that you can't always improve yourself, because of course you can. That's why we are on self-improvement. That's why we as men never stop in our quest for greatness and in our quest to better ourselves. But you have to see, as a beginner, you can't concern yourself with all the fucking I don't know, mental bullshit. You can't think in streaks. It is killing you. So adopt this model of thinking in the total amount of progress made over a set amount of time. basically that's like a month. This causes your progress to compound over like the set amount of time. So let's say you made like 2% of progress every month, and that progress kind of compounds, and by the end of the year you have made so much progress that it's like incredible to look back upon. But you need to be consistent, and the way to be consistent is to adopt this mindset. And once you get good at it, once you like start thinking about it in this way, about like the amount of progress made over a set amount of time, you'll eventually end up getting like insane streaks anyway, because you're not concerned about that. Like if you're neurotic about like a fucking number on your wall, you're never gonna make it. But if you're just concerned about doing something correctly and doing it as best as you can, and just learning from it, and like learning from it as best as you can, then you'll make a tremendous amount of progress. And yeah, that's about it. I hope this helped. And yeah, I wish you good journey, make great progress, have faith in yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.